Hey, what's up? This is Daniel Barrett from AdWords Nerds.com, and in this video, we're going to talk about the absolute best ad types that real estate professionals need to know inside Google Ads. Let's get to it. Now, the first thing you need to know about ad types inside Google Ads is that there have been major changes in just the past year. We are in the middle of this real transition from control-based accounts where human beings have a lot of input to this more automated algorithmic world that Google wants us to live in. Now, for years inside real estate, the primary ad type was called an expanded text ad. This was the classic Google ad that you would see inside the search results page. But this year, Google announced that expanded text ads were no longer going to be available starting in 2022. So to take the place of expanded text ads, they are promoting responsive search ads. These are the two ad types you really need to know if you're doing real estate lead generation right now. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit about what these ads look like, how you create them, and what's interesting about both. Now, what we've got here is an example of a typical Google ad. This is something you might see at the top of the Google search results. The blue part is going to be the headline. We've got the URL, which is mosaicked out here to keep our client info secure. We've also got the gray letters below that are the description elements of the ad. Let me show you a little bit about what that would look like when you are creating it inside Google Ads. What we got here is an example of the creation mode for an expanded text ad. We've got the final URL, which is where the person ends up when they click. We've got the headline. So you have 3 headline areas here, each of which has 30 characters available. We've got the display path, which looks like a URL, but actually isn't. It's mostly an area for more copy. So you can put anything in there that you think will entice the person to click. It doesn't have to really exist. And then we have the descriptions. So I've got description 1, description 2 for a total of 180 additional characters. Now, we used to use only expanded text ads in our accounts, but Google made an announcement this year that they're actually going to sunset expanded text ads in 2022. So essentially, we're not going to be able to use expanded text ads anymore. And if you're running a real estate business now and you're doing Google Ads or Google PPC, I recommend that you get ahead of the curve. It's better to get used to the alternatives that are going to be your only options very soon. What are your other options? That is going to be the responsive search ad. This is the creative screen for a responsive search ad. You can see it's very different. So let's dive into this and talk a little bit about what makes responsive search ads so interesting. So for an expanded text ad, what you are creating is an ad. It's a whole coherent piece. Responsive search ads work very differently. Instead of writing the whole ad all together as a coherent whole, what you're going to do is create a whole bunch of different elements. Then Google is going to mix and match those elements and figure out which ad performs best for that given search. I often compare this to Legos. An expanded text ad is like giving a child a previously assembled Lego set. It looks like a castle, it's got all the pieces in there, and it's cool, and it's fun to play with. Meanwhile, a responsive search ad is much more like giving someone a pile of Legos. They've got the unique elements, they can build whatever they want from it. Now, it's not quite as open-ended as Legos in terms of your Google ads, but it's like that. Now, here are the advantages to using a responsive search ad like this. Google can do a lot more split testing than you could if you were manually managing everything yourself. Google might test all of the headlines and all of the description lines for a total combination of, let's say, dozens and dozens of potential ad types that it can test. Versus running an expanded text ad, you might only do 1 or 2, and maybe you don't really pay attention to it or stop the test when you should. Generally, Google thinks that people are less efficient and effective than its algorithm is going to be. And to be honest, it's probably right the majority of the time. This is what you're going to see when you're actually creating a responsive search ad. You've got the final URL and the display path. We already talked about that's the same. It's suggesting some headlines here. So these little gray areas here are headlines that it's suggesting based on your homepage. And these lines below this are all the different headlines that we're putting into this ad to test. You can see down here, we've got descriptions. Now, there's one other ad type that I think real estate professionals really need to know about inside Google Ads, and that's call ads. What makes call ads interesting is that they are designed to only show to mobile searchers. So if I'm on a phone and I type in sell a house or buy a house or whatever, I might see this type of ad. The goal is not necessarily to drive someone to my website, it's to generate a phone call. So if you're looking at this ad right here, this blue phone with the phone number, that's a link. You click that and it's going to open up the call interface on that person's phone and allow them to connect to you directly. Call ads are super common in verticals like plumbing and veterinarian services. I personally have had less success with them in the real estate space. For one, for a real estate investor who are my primary clients, real estate investors, I think most sellers just want to know who they're talking to. And in a call ad, I haven't necessarily been on your website yet. So I'm just calling you cold. And that's kind of anxiety inducing. The other thing is that if I'm a seller and I'm thinking about selling to a real estate investor, I might need more information about what that process actually entails. It's a big leap to expect someone to just call you directly, although it can work. What I would suggest is that you test call ads in your account in pretty much any market. They work really well as part of a retargeting campaign or as part of a campaign with a really tight keyword focus. The thing to remember is really track your lead quality. Keep track of what calls are coming in from Google and just make sure that the leads are up to snuff. So that's a pretty quick rundown of the types of Google ads that I think a real estate professional needs to know about.